So I made a few videos on this channel regarding one of these. This is a Pentax ME Super. It is the smallest 35mm SLR. I've made repair videos, I've made walkthrough videos, I've made comparison videos. I like this camera quite a bit. The comparison videos I made, I kind of want to revisit because initially what I would do is compare it against the Pentax MX, which in my mind is, fairly decent comparison given they're about the same size, both 35mm SLRs. But I think in hindsight, they are very different. Visually, the MX and ME Super have a lot in common, about the same size, with a few key differences. This has an after preview window, has a self-timer that also serves as a stop-down lever. It has the manual controlled shutter speed dial here. It's all mechanical. Also, it taps out at 1/1000th of a second. Has much more like basic mechanical controls. So these don't really compare the best, but for the intents and purposes when I was making those videos, I was transitioning more from shooting this to going into this. So it felt like a good video to make at the time. However, I think I've found an even better way to compare the ME Super, and that is with one of these. This is a Pentax ME. Now the ME actually came out at around the same time as the MX. It was the MX ME, and this was kind of more designed and targeted towards average consumer, if you will. Roughly, again, the same size as the ME Super. But if you look at the top here, you have a much more boiled down set of controls. It just has the auto. There's no buttons for the manual shutter speed selection dial, and a 1/100th of a second flash sync speed as opposed to the 1/125th. Other than that, they are virtually identical. This one obviously has a lot less you can kind of control on it, but there's definitely an appeal to that. And for someone such as myself, most of the time I'm shooting the ME Super, I would shoot it on auto anyways. So outside of missing out on that 1/2000th of a second shutter speed the ME Super has, the ME is a pretty good choice most of the time. Physically, they're roughly about the same. Price-wise, they're both fairly inexpensive. If you want to get like a kit with a decent lens, probably going to be looking in that 150 range, probably at the ceiling of it. Maybe a little bit more, but they're really valuable cameras, and it's kind of the same story with the ME. I don't really have much else to say. I just think that these compare a little bit more easily than these do. Because again, physically, they all kind of look the same, but they all, in my mind, serve completely different functions. I think if you just want to shoot film, you don't want to think twice about it. Maybe you want to just get a second camera or something like that. I think the ME is a really good bet. They're pretty inexpensive. It's just very boiled down. You don't have to worry. You don't have to think too much about it. If you are a beginner, if you're just getting into film photography, I really recommend the ME Super. It's for those similar reasons of easy to get into. A lot of people know how to repair them. And on top of that, you do have the option to kind of grow with the camera more. If you want to start manipulating more of the options, you don't just have to shoot it on auto. You can have the manual settings and you can kind of figure out what you want to do on that front there. A nice little level up. And then finally, if you kind of are more familiar with film photography, want to get a more compact system, I think the MX is the perfect camera for that. I would also say that the MX is great for a beginner. It doesn't give you the kind of training wheels, and I think sometimes, especially with film photography, the closer you can get to just that pure, authentic feel of just shooting film, manipulating all of the settings manually, feeling all of the components working together, the more likely it is you're able to differentiate that experience against digital photography. So that's kind of the video here. It's not really as much of like a side-by-side comparison because I think that they all kind of offer a variety of different things, but just kind of a quick rundown of the smallest 35mm SLRs, where it might fit into your arsenal if you're looking to get into one. There you have it. I think these are probably the most expensive, but even then they're not going for too much. Well, this I got from KEH, check out the video there. It was supposed to be one of these, but it's okay because I like these still. But this one I think was like $12 or something like that, and it works just fine. Now that's not going to be everybody. There are a lot of stinkers out there. These don't go for a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of acclaim to them, but they're still phenomenal cameras, and I can't recommend them enough. So with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one.